Welcome to another little tale, hopefully it may entertain you. As always, be well. Title: The Queue That Wouldn't Die. Somewhere between the mortal world and the afterlife, there exists a place the spirits jokingly call the processing office. Imagine a cross between an airport security line and a government help desk, except everyone in line is technically dead. At a long marble counter stood two very different figures. One wore a black robe, carried a scythe, and had the general posture of someone who had been working overtime since the Black Death. The other had the body of a man and the head of a jackal, dressed in ancient Egyptian ceremonial armor, and looked far too dignified for the situation. The first was the Grim Reaper. The second was Anubis. Between them sat a glowing clipboard labeled New Arrivals, Tuesday. The Grim Reaper leaned on the counter. "Tell me again why we're doing this together." Anubis calmly turned a page on the clipboard. "Because," he said, "last time you processed souls alone you sent 3 accountants to Valhalla." "They had Viking beards," the Reaper protested. "They had hipster beards," Anubis corrected. A ghost at the front of the line cleared his throat. The Reaper glanced up. "Name?" "Harold." The Reaper scribbled something. "Cause of death. Fell off a ladder while installing Christmas lights." Anubis looked at the notes. "In July." Harold nodded sheepishly. "They were on sale." The Reaper stamped the paper. "Tragic. Economically responsible, but tragic." A portal opened and Harold drifted through. The next soul stepped up. Anubis adjusted his golden collar. "Right. Efficient workflow. Let us proceed." The Reaper sighed. "I miss the old days." "What old days?" "You know. Plague carts. One trip. Done." Anubis stared at him. "You are literally nostalgic for pandemics." "Look," the Reaper said defensively, "I'm just saying the paperwork was simpler." Another spirit approached the desk. The Reaper glanced at him. "Name?" "Kevin." "Cause of death?" Kevin hesitated. "Well, technically, competitive cheese rolling." The Reaper slowly lowered his pen. "I'm sorry," he said. "You died chasing a wheel of cheese down a hill. It was a very steep hill." Anubis rubbed his temples. "Humanity," he said quietly, "invented pyramids, astronomy, and written language." The Reaper nodded. "And then, this." Kevin shrugged and floated through the portal. The line moved forward. Anubis checked the list again. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "ancient Egyptians believed the heart was weighed against a feather to judge purity. Right?" The Reaper pointed to the next ghost, who was holding a phone. "What do we do with the ones who ask if there's Wi-Fi in the afterlife?" Anubis considered this. "We weigh their phone against a brick." "Fair." Another soul approached nervously. "Name?" asked the Reaper. "Linda." "Cause of death?" "I tried to pet a bison." The Reaper blinked. "You saw a 2,000-pound wild animal and thought, yes, cuddle time?" Linda shrugged. "He looked fluffy." Anubis leaned over to the Reaper. "Do not say it." "Natural selection." Linda floated through the portal. The line finally thinned. The Reaper stretched his arms. "Not bad. Only 53 today." Anubis checked the clipboard. 54. They both looked down. A new ghost had appeared at the counter. The man was clutching a toaster. The Reaper sighed. "Let me guess," he said. The man nodded sadly. "Bath time." The Reaper rubbed his skull mask. Anubis asked calmly, "Why were you holding a toaster in the bathroom?" "I was watching a tutorial." The Reaper looked at Anubis. Anubis looked at the ceiling. "Humanity invented the internet," Anubis said slowly, "and used it to learn that," the Reaper finished. "They processed the paperwork." The ghost drifted away. At last, the room fell quiet. The Reaper leaned back in his chair. "You know what amazes me?" "What?" said Anubis. "Humans survived ice ages, wars, and dinosaurs." Anubis nodded. "And yet," the Reaper continued, "half my workload is people trying to pet things that clearly want to eat them." Anubis folded his arms. "In ancient Egypt," he said, People respected the dangers of the world. The Reaper raised an eyebrow. Didn't someone try to wrestle a crocodile for religious reasons? Anubis paused. That was one time. Just then, a loud ding echoed through the hall. A new batch of souls appeared. Dozens. The Reaper groaned. Please don't tell me. Anubis checked the glowing notification. Ah, he said. What? Mass trampoline park incident. The Reaper stared at him. How? Anubis read the report. Apparently someone shouted double bounce challenge. The Reaper slowly picked up his scythe. You know what? He said. What? I'm starting to think humans don't need us. Anubis tilted his head. Meaning? They're doing half the job themselves. Anubis sighed. Come, he said, opening the clipboard again. Back to work. The Reaper looked at the growing line of confused ghosts. He tapped the counter. All right everyone, he called. Single file. No pushing. He glanced at Anubis. And if anyone here died doing a social media challenge? The line went silent. Just admit it now, the Reaper finished. Anubis added dryly. It will save us time. From the back of the line, a ghost slowly raised his hand. I tried to eat 20 hot dogs in a minute. The Reaper closed his eyes. Anubis turned another page on the clipboard. And somewhere in the endless afterlife office, the paperwork continued. Thank you for listening to our little tale. Hopefully it entertained you. Until next time. Be well.